What is up, my pretties? It's here. It's me, the Queen of Lions, and today we are episode 111 of Shadows and Pretties. So today I am going to be doing a Shadows and Pretties episode on a Studio Ghibli movie. I know I haven't did one in like a really long time. Like I haven't talked about a Studio Ghibli movie in like a while. So today I thought, you know what? I'll bring out the big guns right here of Studio Ghibli. So today I am going to be talking about a Studio Ghibli movie called Howl's Moving Castle, which I have to say it is a really awesome movie he directed and written by Hayao Miyazaki. And I'm going to definitely say this right now. This is actually based on the 1986 novel Howl's Moving Castle by a British author named Diana Wynne Jones. So, yeah, this is actually pretty interesting that Studio Ghibli actually took the adaptation from the novel and make it into a movie. Now, the novel does have, some similarities in it, but I'm not going to go too much into detail about the novel because I haven't read it, but I will tell you some things that I did notice. So, I guess with that being the case, yeah, I'm going to go with the plot of what Howl's Movie Castle is about. And especially for those guys who haven't seen the movie yet or haven't watched it in like really long time. Let's get to it. So we are introduced to this young girl named Sophie, who is a young milliner and the eldest of her three sisters, encounters a wizard named Howl, and on her way to visit her sister Letty, upon returning home, she meets the Witch of the Waste, who transform her into a 90-year-old woman. So seeking to break the curse, Sophie has to leave home and sets off through the countryside when she meets a living scarecrow, who she calls a turnip head, and then leads her to Howl's moving castle, where she enters without an invitation. So she meets Howl's young apprentice named Markle, and the fire demon named Classifer, which is the source of the castle's magic and movement. Classifer then makes a deal with Sophie into agreeing to break a curse if she breaks his link with Howl. So when Howl appears, Sophie announces that she has hired herself as a cleaning lady. So meanwhile, as Sophie's nation was caught up in the war with the Boring Kingdom, who is still searching for the missing prince, the king summons Howl to fight in the war. However, Howl decides to send Sophie to the king with the apprentice of being his mother to tell him that Howl is too much of a coward to fight before leaving. So he gives Sophie a charmed ring that leads her to Classifer and then guarantees her safety. So Sophie meets a soul man and the king's head sorceress, and then also the Witch of the Waste, who summons Solomon, who then punishes by draining all of her power, reverting to her true age. With a harmless old woman, now Solomon warns Sophie that Howl will meet the same fate if he does not fight for the king. So Howl then arrives to rescue Sophie. Solomon then tries to trap him by turning him into a monster, but with Sophie's help, he remembers himself, just barely avoids death. So the duo escapes with her former Witch of the Waste and Solomon's dog Heen. In the meanwhile, the soldiers from each kingdom break into the homes of both Jenkins and Pendragon, Howl's Alice's in the kingdoms. However, the men only find an empty courtyard and a warehouse, as the castle's magic nature allows them to travel between four separate residents. So Sophie learns that Howl's life is somehow bound to Classifer's, and that Howl has been transforming into a bird-like creature to interfere with both sides in the war, but each transformation, it makes it more difficult for him to return to his human form. So Howl then has the castle magically linked into Sophie's home, parking the castle itself in the town's outskirts. So a few days later, a town is then bombed by an enemy aircraft, and Solomon's henchmen tries to attack the house and Sophie's hat shop. But however, Howl then heads out to protect the group, and Sophie then moves everyone out of the house and removes Classifer from the fireplace, which collapses in the castle. So the Witch of the Waste realizes that Classifer has Howl's heart and then grabs the fire demon, setting herself on fire, which Sophie panics and pours water onto the witch, which douses Classifer. The remainder of the castle then splits in two, and Sophie then falls in the chasm, and this has separated from the group. Following the charmed ring, Sophie then wanders into a scene from the past where she sees a young Howl try to catch a falling star, Classifer, and gives him his heart. So Sophie calls for them to find her into the future as she's teleported away. So she returns to the present to find Howl and they reunite with each other as the witch returns Howl's heart and Sophie places it back inside Howl, reviving him and freeing Classifer. Although through the decades he decides to stay, Sophie's curse is broken, for her hair remains white, a symbol to show that learning and maturity from the whole experience are intact. So she kisses Turnip Head on the cheek and then returns to human form, revealing himself to be Justin, the missing prince from the enemy kingdom. He reveals that only a true love's kiss can break the spell. Yeah, true love's first kiss breaking the spell. I know it's cliched because lots of other fairy tales and stories have done this, and even movies have too, but I still really have to point that out. After seeing Sophie's affection lies with Howl, he promptly heads home to seize the war, but promises that he will see them again. Solomon then watches through a crystal globe, and he decides to end the war sometime later. Bombers then fly under the dark skies over recovering the Greenside country, heading towards another war, while Sophie and Howl and the others travel in the opposite direction in a new flying castle. So that's basically Howl's Moving Castle, the original movie. Now, I really do like the movie itself, especially when I watched the English dubbing of it. Like, I first watched this for the first time in like a really long time. I actually really do like how the cast went out. It's like really neat and really well done. Now, I'm gonna definitely say, like, when I first saw this, I actually really fell in love with how good this movie was. And I do have to say, this movie was pretty good. And I'm gonna say here right now is that Billy Crystal voices Classifer in the English dubbing. He's also known as Mike in Monsters Inc. So you might remember hearing that voice. A bit of, well, Classifer's voice, also known as, well, Mike. So, in all due sincerity, I really do like how this movie went out. It's a really great movie focusing on, how the concept, of, Sophie gets cursed to be, an old woman and has to go and break the spell. The movie had won lots of awards over the years and nominated, and the first runner-up of the Golden Space Needle Award, and I have to say, it's a very successful movie. Now, getting to the 1986 novel, I'm definitely, I have to say, is where Howl's Moving Castle movie or something takes place. Now, I know that there's other, concept for this one, but of course this one is kind of, the same thing, except there are, a few different concepts. So in this one, Sophie is 18. I don't know if she's 18 in in Howl's Moving Castle movie, but I'm pretty sure she's that age. So basically, the very weird thing is that she doesn't she just gets turned into an old crone, and basically the story basically takes place at the same time. So, of course, then this one, surprisingly, it has a really good concept, but however, though, the another thing I definitely have to say is that, well, Wizard Solomon has the king orders Howl to find both and kill the Witch of the Waste. So, yeah, the Witch of the Waste was being instructed to kill. However, though, another thing I really have to say is that Sophie in this one, in the book, gets captured by the witch, and Howl spends hours in the bathroom every day trying to make himself handsome for girls. So he's basically going out flirting with them while Sophie's dealing with, her own problems. So, of course, at the castle, Miss Algornan then takes hold of Classifer to capture Howl's heart. And although it has been given to Classifer, this contract between them, the heart kept Classifer alive, and in return, Classifer puts his magic in Howl's disposal. So, another thing really have to say is that Howl and Sophie admit they love each other, and that's how the movie ends. Well, the story ends. But in this one, I really have to say, when I first watched this movie, like, I have a feeling they did fall in love with each other, but it kind of really shows that in this, in the movie. Although I haven't watched it in a really long time, but to be completely fair, when I actually watched the movie, it actually really got a really good vibes coming from it when I first watched this movie for the first time. Now, I remember watching this for the first time as a kid, and like I said, I wasn't really a big fan of the movie when I was a kid growing up. Like, I mean, this movie came out in 2004, and I did see it, but at the time, I wasn't really that interested. But in however, in this age where I'm basically 23, I really found this one to be enjoyable. It's a pretty good, well made movie. It's really amazing, and I have to say, it's quite an interesting concept for what for this movie to be. Now, I have not read the novel of this, so I don't really know entirely if that is going to be the case or anything. But could really see that the story actually was pretty amazing, especially for how the plot of it went out. Like, I know this is probably just, an unpopular opinion. I didn't really care for this movie a whole lot as a kid, but as an adult, I really do find this one to be an enjoyable story. Like, I have not read the book, but I have to say the movie itself was pretty interesting and awesome. With the whole Studio Ghibli art that they do and all that. And who could turn down Studio Ghibli? Studio Ghibli will always be one of the best ones I've ever seen. I still really found this one to be awesome. I still like it. And I really have to say it was a pretty good movie when I was a kid. Now, I haven't watched this movie in like a really long time, so I kind of watched it as a kid at one point, but for some reason, I wasn't really, a major fan of this movie at the time. But now looking at it as an adult, I really do realize that it's a really awesome made Studio Ghibli movie. Now, I know there's other movies like Kiki's Delivery Service, Castle in the Sky, Spirit Away, and all. I have already talked about those in my previous episodes. This one, on the other hand, stands out one of the best Studio Ghibli films that I've seen. I know there's other ones out there that I have seen and haven't seen yet, but this one actually stands out the best because you really have to really put your mind to it when it comes to this. This is more of a fairy tale. Like, I could imagine if this was animated in Disney. Like, I know Disney has done something like this probably in the past, but you know what that means. Like, when it comes to Disney, they've done a lot of weird things, and they use like the same cliches at times, saying only true love's first kiss could break the spell. This one actually did that, and to be honest, I really have to say it's actually one of the most cliche things that other movies have done. Like, I mean, so many other stories and movies have done true love's first kiss thing. Like, I didn't mind to having that in Studio Ghibli. Like, I mean, like, other fairy tales really sit there and do that too. So I definitely would have to say I still really found this one to be enjoyable, and I still like it. So it's my opinion. Like, if you like it, that's fine. If you don't like it, that's perfectly fine too, because not everybody, likes the same thing, and we're all entitled to our own opinions. The story was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. It had a really good concept. It's a really good story. I really do like how the movie went out, especially the music. Like, the music for Studio Ghibli is absolutely perfect, and this one, on the other hand, is no different than the other music that I've seen. So, with that being the case, yeah, I guess I'm gonna sit here and say, what do you guys think of, Howl's Moving Castle? If you like Howl's Moving Castle, let me know what your thoughts are on in the comments below. And if you don't like it, that's perfectly fine too. If you like it, that's perfectly cool with me, because, I'm all entitled to opinions. Like, if you don't like the movie, that's fine. If you like the movie, that's pretty cool too. So anyways, what did you guys think about Howl's Moving Castle? Did you like the book? Did you like the movie? Which one do you prefer? I personally really like the movie better. The book, on the other hand, was alright. It was mostly the same thing as the movie, but there was a couple changes. The changes that I did not mention in there, I just probably because I didn't read the book, so that's obvious. But yeah, please don't hate me for this. Please don't. But other than that, it's a perfect story. I really recommend, if you're a Studio Ghibli fan, please go check out this movie, and I will guarantee you, you are not going to be disappointed once you see Studio Ghibli. If you're a fan of Studio Ghibli, or a fan of anime, or anything Japanese in general, this is the movie for you. So, anyways, with that being the case, that being said, what did you guys think about this movie and Howl's Moving Castle by Studio Ghibli, or also known as Hayao Miyazaki? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done person to help make the movie a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you're new to my channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. And don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the no. There's no outro. Why am I saying that? I know I don't use outros for this, so yeah, guys. Yeah. What do you guys think? Let me know what your thoughts are on Howl's Moving Castle. And as always, I'll see you all in the next upload. Peace out.